Hey all you cool cats and kittens, this is Sarah from the Because Maybe Network. This week John and I swap stories and talk about our daily lives on Al Gore's internet. That and a whole lot more is to come, because maybe recording 6 weeks out means you can miss some great chat material when the right subject shows up. Welcome to the show.
So please tell me you got into an argument with somebody with a completely inappropriate screen name back in the day. I think everybody did. Everybody did.
Probably.
So how's everybody doing? This is John.
This is Sarah.
And we are continuing this week with our discussion
on Al Gore's internet.
Yes, the greatest invention since sliced bread became a thing because, you know, nobody knew how to operate a knife. But before we get started on that, guys, we are on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram if you want to catch up with the latest information, what's going on the Because Maybe Network. Check out our YouTube page. That's bit.ly/bmnetwork-YouTube. We are also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, but not Google, because as you know,
they don't like us.
Google sucks. So
I wouldn't say that. I would just say that they don't like us.
Exactly.
Well,
so
there you
suck.
go.
Anybody who likes us sucks. No, okay. Anybody who doesn't like us sucks even. Hey. Okay.
But I'm bummed.
So a couple of weeks ago, you were scrolling through ye old Facebook machine.
Oh my gosh!
And
yes.
you saw something that caught your eye and wanted to talk about. So let's.
Okay, so two things. One led to the other. There was a story, it made national news, about this couple who got married at Walmart.
Yeah.
And they didn't just get married in Walmart. They got married like in that front part of the aisle, like by the financial center and the customer service desk and the bathrooms. Like
to a Walmart bathroom.
Right. Like you've got the checkouts literally on one side of them and the ATM to presumably pay the justice of the peace on the other one. and literally, and when I say they got married, I'm talking about we're talking about full wedding dress. Like somebody slapped up a little gazebo type little arch thing. Or as my grandmother used to say, a gazeboo. A gazeboo. So they put up this pretty little gazeboo arch. Y'all, and then I found out that it was done here in Minden, Louisiana. It's not that about an hour and a half from here, if that.
No, not even that far.
Not even that far. So
you're thinking of Monroe. Yeah,
I was thinking of Monroe, which Minden is halfway. So about an hour from here.
About an hour away. And guys, look, we're not mocking the people, right, for getting married.
No, I think it's fabulous.
I think it's fantastic.
But in the article that I was reading this in, it was talking about how this is almost like this was the second greatest wedding in modern times, coming in second to the Taco Bell wedding. And of course I'm like, the Taco Bell wedding?
Taco Bell wedding.
What is the Taco Bell wedding? Well, apparently at the Taco Bell in Las Vegas.
It has to be Vegas.
Yes, it has to be Vegas. You can get married. Not only that, like the upstairs is a chapel and you can get married, and with the bouquet of sauce packets. This is the most amazing thing, and right. But here's the thing, though: if any of you have teenagers, like we have teenagers, I can guarantee you, if our oldest could get married at Taco Bell,
she would.
That's where she's going to get married.
For those of you who don't know, our eldest is also the editor, and if you've been watching our Donkey Kong series, which should have been out by now, you know I've been torturing her. Yes,
because she's like me, and she has to make sure that one gets everything in a video game, gets 100%, and John's just like, let's just do it to do it.
The day we're recording this episode of the podcast, I recorded episode 6 of the walkthrough, and there's a part in there where it's got 4 bananas, and the O piece, I got 3 of the bananas in the O piece and left it purposely.
You're evil.
And I even mentioned it on commentary.
You are evil. She's going to slay you.
She could do that by joining the Space Force.
Well, oh God, the space people. Okay. The Space Force in and of itself is fine. It's a great idea. I get it.
Because here's the thing, right? I looked it up. I'm not a fan of the current administration. I'm not going to lie. You know, part of the platform that it was built on had a thing for people like me, legal immigrants, that there's a lot of hoops that are being thrown in my way. which is their prerogative.
It is what it is.
Is what it is, so that doesn't make me a big fan of them. But when the Space Force idea came out, a lot of people was like, was making fun of the idea and blah, 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 blah. And I did a little research, and apparently the Space Force idea is kind of like how the Navy the Army spun off the Air Force.
Army Air Corps became the Air Force.
Yeah, it's kind of like a spin-off of that, in the sense that like all the things that the government uses in space for military operations. That they do
all
now,
the military people that are tied up with NASA are now going to be Space Force.
That's my understanding, and I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, let me know.
But that's not the thing, though. That's not the thing. That's not why they're getting drugged right now.
No.
The uniforms came out. I swear to God, y'all, they just put like Space Force tags and put it on top of a regular like Air Force BDU, or for. Again, those of the uninitiated, like a regular camo uniform for, to hide these people from all the space trees.
Yeah.
And the space shrubbery and the space...
shrubbery!
I mean, y'all. No.
It's kind of like what happened after the 9/11 attacks when this country was on high alert. Like all the major landmarks in America got increased military protection. Mm-hmm. And one of them was the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes.
And at both ends of the bridge, there was a Hummer in full jungle camouflage.
By a gigantic orange bridge.
By orange bridge,
yes.
Yeah. So, you couldn't see there. You couldn't see what was going on. And, that just was what it was. So, guys, like we mentioned, if you were on social media, check out Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Look up Because Maybe Network, and check us out wherever you will find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, and TuneIn. That means you can say, Alexa, play Because Maybe Podcast, and boom, we're there. So, with that in mind, now that we've got the ranty and ravey stuff out the way, me and Sarah are going to tell you a few stories about our Tom in early 90s.
Gather round, children.
And we're going to tell you some stories about our time in the 90s on Al Gore's
Internets. Yes.
Cultural impact.
Let's start with... I don't know. We didn't touch on this last time, right? Last episode. Mm-hmm. But we touched on it briefly. But... chat rooms.
Yes.
They were like the way, the bread and butter to begin with, of connecting with people back in the day. Or at least the early internet. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, again, I had web TV.
Yes.
And so web TV did not have IRC capability. So there's lots of you out there who were all about the IRCs and whatnots. And chatting on the MTV website and Total Request Live and all that good stuff. And I missed all of that. I watched you from the sidelines and cheered you on, but alas, I could not. I could not participate. It chafed my inner 15-year-old's grits, but could not. But that's okay. There were other chat room things available to me that I did participate in.
You, one of the things that you said yourself last week was Usenet.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm not familiar with Usenet. That might have been done and dusted by the time I was regularly using the internet.
Oh yeah, okay. So Usenet. Usenet is like alt fan blank, alt something, alt user something. Basically, whatever. It's like it was an alternative. There was the very first message boards.
Okay.
So, but it was this gigantic network where whatever your thing was, you could go on there and find other like-minded people. And then, they were like thread nests. It's prehistoric Reddit.
Okay.
I mean, literally. Yeah.
So, like, instead of r/Coca-Cola, it was Usenet Coca-Cola Group.
Oh, no, it was Usenet /alt blank something, something.
Gotcha.
Right. So, I hung out, again, my little riot girl tendencies back in the day. So, I hung out in alt fan Courtney Love, like, a lot.
Say a moment for the... For Courtney Love, the patron saint of the podcast.
Patron saint of the podcast, yes.
Continue.
Yes. So, and I pretty much, I mean, I spent a lot of my formative years over there. I was there when Celebrity Skin came out. That was fun. I hung out there, and then also their Poe, the singer Poe, she had a wonderful little community, online community, the Angry Psychos. And
were they called Jonies?
No, we were the Angry Psychos, and she there was a chat through her website, a chat group, and then every Thursday she would hop on, and fun times were had, but I don't know, just a lot of my best friends came from, to this day, came from fandoms from back in the day, music fandoms, whether it be the Poe or, I mentioned Bagism last time in the last show. There was Usenet for the Courtney Love people, and the, mailing list folks and the other groups for Oasis. So
yeah, you still have a lot of. I know for a fact that you still are in contact with a bunch of those guys.
Oh God, yes. And in fact, we're trying to actually. I'm trying to put together. It sort of fell on me, but that's okay because I want. It kind of needed to since I came up with the idea of a reunion of sorts some point next year.
Oh, cool.
Of not just the Oasis mailing list people, the whateverites, but possibly adding in the Oasis fanatic group people too. Yes, because there's some folks, because you were in the fanatic group.
I was in the fanatic group.
Right. And
I still talk to a lot of those guys to this day too.
And then now there's a lot of us that were both, like myself and Aaron and Michelle.
Yep.
Juvs was just fanatic.
Lisa. Kyle wasn't even fanatic. Kyle was Mad Ferret. Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, but...
That's where I met Mad Nat, too. She was on 515, and she was on... 515 was the Mad Ferret, and she was on Fanatic 2. The Fanatic, I didn't get into Fanatic until like early 2000s.
Right.
iNet was horrible.
Yeah, there was
Oasis iNet was horrible.
Well, yeah, but that's what the mailing list was for. See, the mailing list was started by by Ned back in the day.
Patron saint of it? No.
Right. Ned's a patron saint of a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'll have to let him know that he's gotten a shout out in this one. But... the Oasis fanatic, not fanatic, sorry, the Oasis mailing list, the whatever mailing list. It was wonderful. It was probably even better if you actually had a computer.
Right.
Because again, I only had so many email slots.
Yeah.
And
that thing,
it blew up.
Yeah.
Like you would literally, and poor Ned would have to, whenever somebody's stuff would start to have to bounce back, he'd have to kick him off the list, and you'd have to request to get back on the list. So like daily, anytime I was away from my computer, I was having to request to come back onto the mailing list. And then finally they opened it up, and like the peach that he is, he was like, "Yes, Sarah." and if you've ever met Ned or heard him talk, that was my best Ned impersonation. Yes, Sarah. Okay, of course, sure thing.
Hey, got it?
I gotcha. You're good. Because nothing ruffles Ned. Ned is like the zenest SOB I've ever met before in my entire life. But
except Weezer.
Yeah. And I think the maddest he ever got with me was a conversation about Christina Ricci versus Cameron Diaz, I think. I don't remember. Anyway, but
Christina Ricci.
Yes, and that was his thing too. No, I mean the internet before now, because as you were saying, back then, web TV was really weird because I could get to Usenet, but a lot of people who had AOL and stuff, they couldn't do Usenet.
No, so it was weird.
Yeah, so
internet on the
right,
internet.
So a lot of people, like, mailing lists were the first and only ways that they stayed in touch with people. And we would have like these long threads about just all kinds of just random weird stuff. And it was hilarious because there's a story concerning my brother. I have a younger brother who's autistic. And I'm going to make a very long story very, very short. One of the first great things about the internet, one of my first great experiences about the internet is when Devin was young, I taught him how to talk by, we would sing Don't Look Back in Anger. That was our thing. Song. Right. And that was how I taught him, how to the beginnings of how to communicate. Because I'm considerably older than my brother. I'm 12 years older than my brother. So, anyway, so I shared that story one day, and then I got an email saying, needing my address. It's okay. And then the next thing you know, I get a couple weeks later from Sarah at, who ran Oasis Inet.
Yeah.
I get a letter and an autographed picture from Ignition, which was Oasis's management team.
Marcus
Russell, yes. And it was from Noel, Sarah and Devin, best wishes, Noel Gallagher.
Nice.
And I flipped my shiznit. I mean, my little Teletubby ass was doing cartwheels all the way up and down back from, right?
Sorry.
And if you know me, you know that is not physically possible down my little long ass Forrest Gump driveway. And I mean, like, woo! Okay. But here's the kicker years later. Noel didn't sign it.
Who did?
Paul. I've seen both of their handwritings. Because everybody's a connect, there was such a community that was built up. It was one of those, somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and eventually, if you hang around enough, everybody kind of meets everybody type things.
Yeah.
There's a subsect of the group. Like I said, this is like the OG fan group, who to this day still follows around on the tours with Noel and Liam and whatever, and I've met them both hundreds and hundreds of times. And I'm not exaggerating by how many, but considering how many, times they followed them on tour. And there are stories that, we have that we're not going to share with anybody.
They're sacred.
They are sacred, like the Dwayne ring. But
now, for people wondering who the heck is Paul,
Paul is Noel and Liam's older brother.
Yeah, he's kind of involved in more of the management side of
right.
Not necessarily the Oasis at the time.
No, right now he's doing photography, though. He's an excellent photographer.
But like he was more, he was a band manager as opposed to
right.
a musician.
Right.
And I don't know.
He's just a cool dude, though. But yeah. I've seen samples of his handwriting, and I now have a different autograph from Noel that my friend Michelle sent me, and they don't I know what matches and I know what doesn't. And so I'm like, you snot. Like, I kind of want to go, really? But I know, right? Imagine that.
Who's been shocked.
I know. So there's that. But, back in the day, they used to say that whenever you would get autographed stuff from, like, the Beatles, back in the day, like, half the time it wasn't autographed by the Beatles.
George Martin or something.
It was
like that.
somebody in the Brian Epstein sitting there, like signing John Lennon's name on 75 things. And then later on, when you learn what John Lennon's signature looks like, you look and you go, really? Yeah, but sometimes those things can be worth even more depending on who forged the signature.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
And I mean,
Paul, make me a rich woman.
Yeah, well,
Right?
Well, it's I came onto the whatever list at the very, very, very tail end.
Right.
And I honestly didn't know how to use how it worked.
Oh, you're such a baby.
Well, no, it's like now, if we show, okay, if I went to if I was able to find like a Yahoo News group, right, and show the kids how to use it and stuff like that, they wouldn't have a clue,
right?
Because it's just so foreign and clunky, and
right.
I mean, because like I said, I didn't get online until mid '99, and a lot of the stuff that I did was through Yahoo groups. I was doing a lot of music stuff as well.
Right.
Strangely enough, I didn't do a lot of Oasis stuff until early 2001.
Oh yeah, you were way late to the party.
When the hype for Heathen Chemistry was coming.
Yeah, because I'm talking about like back
94, 95.
I'm talking
96.
about like when the master plan was released, and we all debated that, and the Be Here Now. Oh my God, when the Be Here Now cover dropped. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So this is old school.
And like, I got into arguments over what was the best track on Heathen Chemistry. I mean,
Oh, you're such a baby.
Yeah, I mean, that's like asking, what's the best looking Pebble? That was a dreadful album. Love the band, but that album I don't like. But so I did a lot of groups.
Right.
A lot of sports stuff because I was still kind of sporty, so before my knees and back completely went out.
Right.
And music wasn't as big a part of my life as it is now.
Right.
And just I learned very, very quickly that fans of sport are the biggest divas and spoiled babies in the history of whatever. Right. And the internet, unfortunately, has magnified that now, Well,
I will say this, though. Like, the internet now is all about, like, beauty bloggers and, like, beauty influencers. I mean, really, those are the internet celebrities of our time, right?
Yeah.
Back then, it was really, it was a really cool time because it was really all about music. I mean, it was really about who you listened to, and music ruled.
It wasn't necessarily underground, but it was definitely alternative. Because the only people who had computers and were getting onto the internet weren't, like, everybody's got a phone now, you know? All the people who were like, I'm going to use the Instagram influencers and stuff like that, I don't think they would have, if they'd have been the same age as they are now 25 years ago, they wouldn't be sitting at a computer typing up influencey stuff because you needed this big clunky box and a TV and stuff like that.
But I mean, we weren't discussing mascara. We were discussing like the tape trees. Oh my God, tape trees. And there were mailing lists for bootlegs, bootleg CDs.
Bootlegs.
And there was a mailing list that I found out was run by one of the Zappa brothers, and I did not realize
Dweezil.
Or either that, him or Amit, but it was for
Not Unit.
No, it was one of the boys, but it was for recordings, like live recordings of shows and whatnot, because they were desperately trying to see if anybody had a VHS recording of when their dad was inducted to the Hall of Fame. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because again, back then stuff wasn't, you couldn't get it, like
you couldn't keep stuff.
Right. So tape trees and things like that. We were just a really music lovers from all genres. We were just this really tight knit community of support, and we supported the hell out of each other.
And I think we mentioned this during our various music episodes. Mm-hmm. With the exception of Britpop, all the musicians kind of lifted each other up. Mm-hmm. You had the Britpop, which was infighting with the genre because it was,
And then you had rap. I mean, East Coast, West Coast
obviously,
stuff, yeah.
But I mean, like, the musicians in those genres. I mean, like we've mentioned Oasis a couple of times. If I was to say Ocean Colour Scene, Travis,
right?
They were basically
Travis was
they were Noel's boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then Blue had they guys who they brought through, and it wasn't necessarily rivalries, but it was a community.
Yeah, but you also had Smashing Pumpkins had the same community. Aerosmith had the same community. I mean, whatever your music, whatever it was.
The thing is about the internet, right? The early internet. Mm-hmm. The people who were able to get online were either what we call anoraks back home. Mm-hmm. The nerdy side of everything, who loves everything about it, or the wealthy folks,
right?
The hardware and stuff like that associated with it. And if you were a fan of music, you went through a lot to get that little box that you can go online to.
Oh God, yes.
So you were gonna, you were gonna be respectful and polite, and you were gonna learn things, and be part of a community.
Right.
And I think that's why it was, I don't want to say wholesome, so to speak, but it was more forgiving.
Oh yeah, even when we were cussing each other out, I mean, we loved each other.
It was basically
we were a family.
That's the word I'm looking for. That's the word I couldn't figure out.
Right? I mean, we were a family, and that's why I know it seems weird. Like, why would a bunch of people go to a meet and greet 30 years later?
Because it was a big part of your life.
Because I've got a group of people to where I've flown out and I've met them, and we've gone on vacation with each other, and we've I've got friends who have been bridesmaids in each other's weddings, and and it's
a lot of lives have been connected by this and changed forever by a lot
forever
of this stuff.
And ever, amen.
And while we're on music, right, let's shift away from a little bit. how many computers did you give viruses to get free music? Now, look, right? I'm the statute of limitations are probably long gone with all this stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I downloaded music back in the day. You know,
I didn't get Napster until later, because when I actually got a regular computer, and so that was after 2001,
and
2002.
Napster was already almost done.
And
at that
Napster,
point.
so I'm more of a WinMX LimeWire chick.
WinMX and Audio Galaxy is what we used.
Yeah.
I remember the day Audio Galaxy went down. Like, my friend...
Now, see, I don't remember an Audio Galaxy.
I got, like, I had a cell phone. And it was 10p a text message.
Oh, my God.
So, you know... But luckily for us, you've got a weird thing is if I send a text, we both pay for it. Over in the UK, if you send a text, you pay for it. I don't.
Right.
You know, because I didn't ask you to send me a text message.
Right.
So, I got a text message... asking if it was up, because we couldn't call each other because we were using our phone line to power the internet. And like, me and my band, we were all heartbroken because that's how we were getting the songs together, you know, to learn. I mean, we weren't finding Ben Folds 5 stuff in Port Talbot. You know, we had to download it to get anything.
And that was another great thing about the internet, you know, is that that's how you discovered things and found things.
I'll always remember one of my favorite bands. Oh, let me phrase that. One of my favorite albums, because the second album was dreadful. But one of my favorite albums is an album by a band called the Motorhomes. It's called Songs for Me and My Baby. And at the time, I'd gotten, like a week or so before, I'd gotten my first Oasis
You're good.
demo type thing, right? So I think it was a demo of Some Might Say, right? And I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize that these were out there. So I just typed in Oasis Rare Tracks into WinMX, and it downloaded new to it all. And I came across this song called Oasis Demo Into the Night. Heck yeah, I'm getting this. I wonder what this is. And I listened to it, and it's like this haunted voice, and like, this isn't Oasis. I found out who the band was, and I got the album. And it's one of my favorite albums of all time. You know, and I discovered a lot of music that way.
Right.
You know, just mislabeled songs. Oh, this is what they are. Okay. You know, and and also, as you meet people, quote unquote, throughout the world, you're going to find out that there are bands that they've heard of that you haven't heard of before.
Well, yeah, because you can raid their the user's library.
I mean, there was a Canadian band called Rhymes with Orange. Not to be confused with the Florida punk band. And I downloaded an album of those that I loved, you know, and just a whole bunch of music, because I did have a lot of people from Canada on my friends list. I mean, one of them sent me Smashing Pumpkins. I wasn't a fan of Smashing Pumpkins until I got the compilation. I became an admirer of them. I wouldn't say a fan, you know, early REM and stuff like that. Stuff I wouldn't think about getting, you know. And yes, I got a lot of it for free 99 with a 99-cent discount.
Right.
And I'm not proud of that. As a content creator now, I'm not proud of that. At the same time,
as a teenager, you don't think about that.
No, you don't. You don't. You know, and for the record, a lot of the stuff that I downloaded back in the day, I have gotten the physical copy of it, or the physical download of it. You know, because as I became a musician, I realized, yeah, these big guys, they got 6 swimming pools, 3 cars, and could eat quail on toast every night if they wanted to. But like the little guys who maybe not many people have heard of, you know.
Right.
But after Napster went legit.
Yeah, which bombed.
Yeah, because they teamed up with Real Player.
Yeah, no. No.
Do you want viruses on your computer? Then download Real Player.
You couldn't get rid of it.
No, you couldn't. Even wiping your hard drive sometimes didn't do it, which is stupid, you know. But I mean, it was what it was. But I mean, now you know that led to iTunes. iTunes was the first place to monetize everything.
Yeah, Napster crawled so iTunes could walk.
And basically, it was, hey, you like the song? Pay for it with $1.
Yeah, I mean...
that's it. That's what did it. I mean, people are like, you know, oh, it's only $1. It's only $1. It's only... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, is that 99-cent 99p marketing price that
and to be honest,
and
that's why a lot of there was a lot of conversion into digital, but also because for a lot of us, whenever we got new computers or whatever back then, you didn't transfer your stuff over.
No.
So to get your music or whatever, you would have to re-download it.
Yeah.
And
that's one thing I don't like now.
Yeah.
I like a physical copy of my movies, games, videos, everything
so do
like
I.
that.
But
because Apple's not going to be around forever.
No, but iTunes was really good about that. I mean, about stepping up and stepping in, and that's why most people from back in the day did end up legitimately getting copies of their stuff just because. I mean,
one of the things, there are rumors going around now that the new Apple Music, I say new, but I mean the newer Apple Music stuff, wipes your hard drive of music that's not Apple sourced. Has been rumored going around. Yeah, I know, but I mean, at the end of the day, music.
Are these the same people that say that you're going to have to start paying 10 cents per email?
No, these were on legitimate news reports.
Oh,
yeah, these are not the people who think that on the 13th, Channel 13, not specified area is charging. Whatever.
Facebook Gold.
Yeah, Facebook Gold. Oh, that's my favorite. But I mean, that is what it is. But I mean, we've spoken about this a lot, right? We've spoken about the music side of things, and we've spoken about how we find people online.
Right.
Mid 90s, early 2000s, people were like getting married that had never met before.
In person,
and they'd meet up, and then they get married. So. Let me tell you, viewers and listeners, a little story about how a humble young Welshman ended up in can't even locate it on a map, Louisiana. All right, so this is like February, March 2003.
Picture it, Sicily, 1963.
It's early March 2003, right? And we had like a not AIM, it was Hotmail, not Hotmail. What was it called? Windows Messenger? No.
Yeah, Windows Messenger.
MSN Messenger.
Yeah.
And I was on Fanatic.
MS Messenger.
I was on Fanatic. And we had one of those threads of, okay, you know what? Dump your connection details. So I dumped mine on there.
ASL.
Yeah, ASL basically. So dumped it on there, and I connected with somebody. Started talking to them, and they said, "Well, I'm going away on vacation in a couple of weeks, so I'm not going to be around much. But when I come back, whatever, right?" And I guess that person was just trying to get a new list of people to talk to, and so I didn't hear from them for a couple of weeks. Me and a bunch of guys went to London with our college, and I get basically conned out of £50 worth of drinks by somebody I met at a bar. And we exchanged information.
Conned, you say?
That's what I said.
He said, I said what I said.
What I said. I got conned.
Conned my ass.
So we exchanged information, went home, put that information in my machine.
Lo and behold.
It was the same person from a couple of weeks ago.
Dun, dun, dun.
So how did you feel about meeting me for the first time?
You were cute. You were adorable.
So I ask you people who listen to this, are we technically an internet relationship or are we not an internet relationship? Because we met in person and we met online, but we didn't realize that they were the same thing at the same time.
Well, we bonded over the internet.
We bonded over the internet.
So, yeah, that counts.
Because, we met, in person.
And then I visited you, you visited me, you moved here.
It was just, one of those weird things. Yeah.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Winner.
Couple of crazy kids later, literally, they drive me nuts.
They are crazy. But that's our story, right?
Yes. But for every one of our story, there's 1,000,010 others where people met on, this is long before Tinder, Plenty of Fish. This was back when you had Yahoo Personals.
Just meeting up through
chat rooms. Through those same chat rooms and mailing lists from before.
It was. Yeah. It was.
Okay. People of my age can remember their parents talking about how in the 60s and 70s you could hitchhike, right?
Yeah.
You could just, if you wanted to get somewhere, you could stick your thumb out and go, right? And could you be murdered? Well, yeah. But, odds are you probably weren't going to be.
Yeah.
At the time, right? Well, back in the day, you could meet people that you met on the internet. Now, could you be murdered?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time...
But the odds were in your favor.
Well, not only that, but I mean, I'm not trying to sound like an old guy yammering on this generation or anything like that, right? Because I'm not.
Yes, he is.
And I'm not trying to sound like this young kid who's disrespecting old folks.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you know what? We did stupid stuff in the 90s. But I don't think we were as impulsive.
Oh, yeah, we were.
Okay. But, I mean, folks were meeting folks offline, who they met online, after like a conversation or two conversations. It was a good few months worth of banter and correspondence and stuff like that.
And phone calls.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't just, oh, I like you, let me jump on a plane. That's not how this shit worked. And I think that a lot of people kind of lost track of that. I'll lose track of that when they think of that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh well, whatever. Because I mean, we would have folks who spoke online and spoke through long distance phone calls and email and stuff like that. My God,
my phone bill.
My phone bill too.
I like accents. That killed me. That killed me financially. People killed me.
I'm sorry, but I mean, no, but if we weren't comfortable with the person we were speaking with, we weren't going anywhere.
Right.
And if they weren't comfortable with the person they were speaking with, they were not welcome.
Going anywhere. Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't as you're gonna meet someone, you're gonna get murdered. Now, unfortunately,
it happened.
It has happened. But I mean, it's the exception rather than the rule.
Or it was anyway.
It was. Now that it's more widespread and people are more naive.
Now it's more the rule.
Yeah, because more people are naive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's sad, but I mean, not just online relationships, right? And finding friends. People connected over the dumbest things. Mm-hmm. There was a ton of Star Trek message boards.
Oh,
and it was
Jesus.
Kirk v. Picard.
And when the first Generations movie came out, people lost their shiznet.
Because plus it proved everything about both characters, right? In the final sequence, it's Picard and Kirk v. the bad guy.
Right.
Picard tries diplomacy. Kirk gets his dukes out.
Mm-hmm. There you go. But says everything that you need to say.
But it wasn't just Star Trek and Star Wars, stuff like that. But I mean, like Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Yes.
People started playing D&D
and Vampire Masquerade
over the internet.
Yes.
Which and Risk over the internet. Mm-hmm. And then you think, oh my God, that sounds stupid. But remember, people in the 70s and 80s would play chess via mail.
Yep.
So think of that what you will. Just because you added a computer in there didn't mean it was any more or less legitimate.
Right.
And I think that was the hardest thing for people to understand about between the mid 90s and the mid 2000s is the legitimacy of how the internet kind of brought people together.
Brought people together, yeah.
And not just brought people together, but lifelong friends, partners, children. Yeah, there are children graduating high school. Who have graduated or will graduate in the next 2 to 3 years, that their entire existence is based on an online relationship. Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't just like, there's things you wouldn't expect, right? And this is the beautiful of the connection thing, right? Mm-hmm. There is an adult actress called Asia Carrera. Mm-hmm. Oh, she was an adult actress. Mm-hmm. Okay. And she hosted like LAN parties and a gaming server for years. Mm-hmm. And, the stereotype of the adult actress at the time was a coked out bimbo, yeah?
Right.
But she coded her own website and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The internet took nerds from all walks of life.
Yep.
I mean, Vin Diesel. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest nerds ever. Did you know he wrote the foreword of Dungeons & Dragons 3, I think it was?
Yes.
I mean, it's just, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. The problem is, though, is like the only thing that 90s internet has that modern internet also has, which is disturbing, is radicalization.
Yes. Back then, it wasn't ISIS though.
No, it wasn't ISIS, but it was
white supremacy.
White supremacy, Nazis, the IRA.
Yep. Which still pretty much fall under that whole white dude.
Kind of. The IRA has a little bit of difference, so to speak. It was more get off our lawn, or give us our lawn back.
Right.
You know, some of the tactics that they use, though, that I could never support the organization. I understand their cause, but their tactics turned me off the organization.
Right.
You know, and turned a lot of people off. You know,
because I wouldn't want you locked up.
So. I mean, you gotta understand. I'm
y'all heard that, right? Like FBI.
Yeah,
like I'm there. Okay, cool.
I'm from an Irish Catholic family, so I mean,
no, not helping.
You know,
green card renewal, not helping.
Will you stop? But I mean, that kind of thing is still going on today, unfortunately. And I think the worst radicalization is going on in plain sight.
Yes.
You know, and it's a shame because now nobody has any critical thinking. We live in a binary world. You're either with us or against us.
Yep.
You know, so which is really, really, really sad. Not just sad; it's devastating. You know, but what can you do? So. The last couple of things that I think, we need to bring up, we touched on it briefly, was instant messaging.
Yes. What
was your instant messenger of choice?
AIM.
AIM was yours?
And then MS Messenger.
For me, it was MSN and Yahoo. Because I think Britain gravitated more towards MSN and Yahoo.
That's the only reason I was on MSN was because British people.
There you go.
Because I like accents.
There you go.
I've mentioned that before.
You have mentioned that before. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't speak with an accent anymore.
You have more of an accent than you think you do.
Yeah, but I have less of the one that I had.
Oh, that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Well, I can go home for a week and...
I don't have to translate for you.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Which is both a blessing and a sadness. But I mean, Yahoo Messenger. What did you enjoy? Did you use that one?
I didn't use that one.
You didn't use that one? It was very clunky. It was directly connected to your Yahoo account. So, like, you had your email address and that was your username.
Right.
You couldn't use, like, customized names.
Right.
So, you were always whatever. And I think the same thing was the AIM, too. Like, your username, you couldn't have any extra status.
Right.
I think that was one of the reasons why MSN took off. Because everybody had
you could set your status with AIM. But you couldn't change your username.
Well, the status for MSN Messenger, though, was, you'd see people with,
Oh, God, it's the statuses.
The statuses, yeah.
Well, AIM was the same way, though. You could do it with AIM?
Yeah,
oh, yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
With AIM, you had, like, you'd always get someone on AIM who had blue letters on, like, a green background. Looked like a colorblind test.
Yep. Yep.
That was the only good thing AOL ever did, because their email was terrible and their internet was...
Messenger was on flipping point, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, good Lord. And the only reason I had AIM was the same reason you had MSN. Is because I'd be talking to
American folks. Yeah.
And strangely enough, Canada gravitated towards Yahoo and MSN. From my experience.
Right. And then you also had ICQ, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah. I mean...
Which, again, I don't really have any personal anecdotes with ICQ.
No, I didn't use ICQ either.
I almost said ICP.
ICP?
I do have some anecdotes with ICP.
Well, while we're heating...
So we'll bring that up at another
point at another day.
Yeah. I got hit in the head with a seltzer bottle once at one of their shows. It was interesting.
Nice.
Right.
Did you have your face painted?
No.
You didn't juggle it?
Juggle it? Really, homie? Really?
Well, you never know.
Juggle it.
Right. So, I mean, that's basically it, guys. I mean, that's how we used the internet back in the day.
Yes, we were very wholesome.
Yeah. No, we just knew how not to get caught.
Thank God. Again, I'm so glad that none of my none of your likelihood of there being like chat records and stuff that have survived where my children could see it later on.
Chat records. There was a program that came out that was one program that had all the instant messenger services in one, and it kept a chat log. And
MS Messenger kept one too.
It did.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Oh, buddy.
God. Yeah, it's like 911. Can you give me the number for 911? Some of
Right.
those things. I mean, good lord. But I mean, okay. Some of these instant messenger stories, right? You had that friend? We all had that friend who like gave your contact information out to like the scuzziest, skeeziest people.
Oh, I didn't have a friend like that.
Good. I'm glad you didn't, because
What kind of friend you got?
oh, it was it was a guy who lived around the corner from me,
Well, that's usually, yeah, there's always a guy who lives around the corner.
and he like hung around. He was a couple of years younger than me, and gave all his address book out to his friends, and some of the people.
Why?
Because I was 18 and he was 15.
Oh, so he was trying to give everybody the cool dudes, older dudes number?
Pretty much, yeah. But
Were you the cool older dude, or were you the one to avoid?
I made myself the one to avoid.
Okay.
Because I had some really, really weird conversations, and I had to end up protecting my brothers a lot.
Yeah.
Because, you know, my elder of the two brothers that I have still has to this day a really big mouth. Do you know how hard it is to be the big brother of somebody with a big mouth when you can't fight? Do you know how many ass whoopings I got? Yeah, you owe me, bruv. You owe me a lot. So, yeah, that's it. So, guys, this is what I'm going to ask you to do. I very rarely ask you to do this, right? This is going to be uploaded to YouTube. And obviously, we have our social media pages. Let us know your experiences.
Yes.
Yeah, we'd love to hear them, right? And we've got a podcast series called Right Here, Right Now, which is basically random stuff that we talk about, or extra content from these things that we do. I'd love to read some of these stories out, and me and you read some of these stories out. So if you
Let's do it.
we'll put a link in the description below to our Facebook page, because that's probably the best place to do it. If you're not on Facebook, then we'll put all the social media there, and of course this is going to be on YouTube, so mention in the comments too below. Okay, so that's it for right now. We will be back here momentarily in a minute. So, guys, as we mentioned in the last segment, go to our social media pages on Facebook,
Yes.
Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram, right? For your anecdotal stories of your online life in the
day.
in the mid-90s to mid-2000s, okay? I know we're a 90s podcast, but I'm stretching this out to do mid-2000s stuff.
There's some bleed over.
Yeah, because, I mean, it only started getting like it is now in kind of the mid-2000s. That was kind of when this era that we're talking about ended. So, and it doesn't make any sense to stop when Y2K hit.
Right.
So,
oh, God.
we will be talking about Y2K at some point, but it's not going to be right now. But, yeah, so, and let us know, obviously, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, let us know in the comments below. We'd love, with your permission, to read some of these stories out, okay? And
Yes.
we'll even do a shout out online, so we can do it for a Right Here, Right Now episode, okay? So, that being said, next week we're going to finalize our conversation on Al Gore's internet.
Yes, indeedy.
The tech man from Kentucky. The most famous Kentucky involved in tech since the Colonel himself. But I don't think he was from Kentucky, was he?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. That's
Yeah.
Kentucky, isn't it?
Oh,
No.
Jesus, help me.
I'm thinking. Okay, I keep getting Memphis and Tennessee mixed over, just like I used to get Philadelphia and Pennsylvania mixed up.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know my geography. I'm tired. I'm brain dead. Leave me alone. But next week we're going to be talking about the dark side of the web and some of the early failures, and basically wrapping up our discussion.
Yes.
And I'm going to clear up a common misconception next week.
Ooh.
On the difference between on why something called dark web is not evil. And
I'm intrigued, Mr. Connolly.
yes, it's because I'll tell you next week.
Very good.
Very good. All right. So, guys, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, look us up. Check us out on our YouTube channel at bit.ly/bmnetwork-youtube. Check out Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, and tune in for more podcasts of what we do. Don't look for us on Google, because Google doesn't like us. Therefore, Google sucks. So, that's going to be a common thread. Until we get on the Google platform, that I'm gonna do that every time I mention that where we're located at, because it's stupid.
Y'all,
Just
I'm
remember,
sorry.
this is what she's got to live with.
It is, y'all. Pray for me.
Yeah.
Send me some good juju.
Yeah, if only I hadn't spilled my drink, she would not be as exasperated as she is right now. So, so guys, thanks very much for taking time to join us. It's really awesome, and check out the link check out the description of this podcast for a couple of things that we spoke about in what's coming in our Right Here Right Now episode, which is to do with this. We spoke a little bit about the Australian bushfire and how you can help out if it's still a major problem, or even if it isn't a major problem and you want to help try and make sure this doesn't happen again. So
Fabulous,
and we will see you next time.
bye.
I have no jigglies. Am I supposed to have jigglies over here?